bluffgawd. BLUFF_GAWD. Look him up. One of Kanye's close friends.
Another day and apparently another Drake lawsuit. Shout outs to FantasticHipHop. Damn, I'm not subbed to this guy. Why Drake and OVO are getting canceled for lying in a new lawsuit. Let's check this out.
Now, despite us being right on the brink of entering a chapter in hip-hop where, because of the places rap music is now being represented, things have the chance to never be better, there is still something terrible going on within hip-hop, and at that from one of its own artists, who now, because of the way things have unfolded and because of who is leading the charge forward in this new era, this person and everyone around him have gotten so bitter that they are now ruining things for everybody else. And now, of course, who I am referring to is none other than Drake, OVO, and all the clowns who are affiliated with him. Because with what has happened right before...
I feel like it's the same thing, dude. I feel bad for mostly the people around him, bro, you know? Like the normal people around him, which I'm sure there's a few normal people around Drake. Those are like a chef or something. I don't know. That's who I feel bad for.
Before Kendrick Lamar is about to gear up and play at the Super Bowl, it's really just some of the shadiest stuff going on in the entire music industry. And if these practices keep being utilized by not just Drake, but other people as well, ultimately, hip-hop's name is never going to look worse to larger audiences, and its biggest stars are never going to get the recognition that has taken over 50 years to finally get. But now, before we go any further into this and unravel just how bad the path Drake is trying to take us on is, not just for hip-hop, but for actual people in general, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now, with what is going on, the situation that I am referring to...
You know, not to get political, but Drake is... literally the result of like hip hop embracing commercialism and like going for commercialism at all costs, you know. This is exactly what happens, you know. Like, cause there's other like pop rappers and rappers who lean into more pop oriented music, who aren't white. Who, you know, nobody fucking cares, you know what I mean? It's not that nobody cares. Those guys are successful in their own rights, and I'm not talking shit, but as far as hip-hop, nobody gives these guys a hard time, you know what I mean? And I'm not even going to say any names, but I'm sure you can think of one or two who just kind of do their own thing, make pop records, and nobody bothers these guys, you know? Because they're not fucking scumbag pieces of shit.
Is a report that hip-hop media outlets released the weekend of the Grammys and right before the Super Bowl, which is saying that label heads of Top Dog Entertainment could be in some deep trouble as they are now being sued with some terrible claims against them. But now, before we go any further, this situation is about to get even weirder than you could ever imagine, because just...
Yeah, what's interesting is, like, Kendrick isn't even Top Dog anymore. So he's literally, like, suing every... If I understand it, he's suing Top Dog. He's literally going out of his way to sue anybody but Kendrick. And god damn it, dude, you guys know why he's fucking doing this. You know why he's fucking doing this.
Just a few days after these claims were released to major news outlets, now the suit itself has officially been removed from the firm who has been said to have filed it in the first place, and making this all the more questionable. The employees who were accusing the heads of TDE for everything they were have been exposed to not just have never worked for the label, but it also has been discovered that they work with OVO, as one of them manages an OVO sound artist, which means they are working directly for Drake. And even more directly than that, one has Dennis Graham, who is of course Drake's father, as a client. So already just knowing this about the background of these people, to say the very least, something is off. But now beyond the actual suit itself, what's so strange and off-putting about this situation is that this was filed and has been released for months. But seemingly nobody knew about it until rap outlets started all posting about this at the same time right before the Super Bowl, and this is where the problem begins. Because obviously,
the Super Bowl is next week.
The people who are running TDE, and that is the label that Kendrick Lamar was on for years, this popping up right around this time is making headlines and is circulating in a way where Kendrick Lamar is now being directly thrown into articles and roped into claims. And of course now a certain side of hip-hop is going crazy into articles and roped into claims.
Oh, sexual misconduct.
Now a certain side of hip-hop is going crazy and once again trying to frame not just TDE but Kendrick as a whole for being a horrible person. And again, while there is a lot to unravel with all of this, what is clear from the fact that this is making news right now is that someone who had to benefit from this story releasing funded putting these stories out at this very time with the intention to create problems for Kendrick, TDE, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. And I mean, when you look down at the list of people who would have something to benefit from having something like this come out, and on top of that, also match this up with somebody who already has a...
I mean, but dude, come on, you're being accused of everything in the world, and then you want to go and turn Drake. Oh, Drizzy Drake.
A history of weaponizing the law in a way to smear his opponents. This obviously all aligns up with the behavior of Drake and OVO. We don't have to pretend that it doesn't. And this is now especially true because the people who are involved in this suit are directly tied to them. And to be quite honest, it seems like when we look back at the freestyle Drake released at the...
Wouldn't it be funny if Drake's entire downfall was the result of Fousey's manifestation to collaborate with him? Like, Fousey, who's way down here, right? 43K listeners, right? And Drake, who was here and slowly declining, right? What if Fousey manifested all this so that Drake's decline and Fousey's rise will meet at a certain point, and then they'll make the collab of the century? Manifestation is real, folks.
The beginning of January, some of those lines about ruining people's public image was foreshadowing to this very moment.
Yeah.
And so the biggest problem with this is that beyond music and rap beat for that matter, we are now at the point which these claims, which are very serious, are now no longer being looked at and leveraged the way they are because there is care for the actual issue and finding justice for the people who were actually negatively affected by this. But now people are just whistleblowing these stories to make others, and in this case Kendrick Lamar, look like a worse person than he otherwise would. And it's pretty clear to see where the problem with all of this is. Because again, at the bottom line, we are now using serious issues and problems to neglect the people who they are actually affecting, and then just to try and smear a person who has no involvement in all of this just to take away what is going to be the biggest moment of his career. And I mean, for Drake, it's really both horrible and sad that this is the point where we are at, where he and others are reaching this low to get their way, because we are now witnessing the true importance and meanings of the systems we have in place just get manipulated, and instead of actually trying to prove and seek justice with them, everyone is trying to use what could be real people's pain for their own benefit without actually caring about what's really at stake.
It's very selfish because it's a big moment for hip-hop.
Drake fans and people who are affiliated and connected with OVO were running their mouths, bringing Kendrick into things, and trying to pretty much frame this as him being the one who was doing any of this, although he is not even mentioned once. And just for reference and proving how bad this is all getting, this is the same community who, when there is full-on evidence of DJ Academics talking to people that he should never even be around, and of course he did some truly horrible and disgusting things, they just kept quiet and didn't say anything. And of course this is because we are now in this era where, because people are so emotional over music, and specifically what I'm talking about is of course Drake, OVO, and all of his fans, they just do not care about actual problems and finding justice, because if they did, they would have called out Ak, and they wouldn't be supporting Drake, who is paid to shut down these same cases that are out on TDE from ever even reaching this point in the first place. And now this pathetic group of individuals only cares about using others' worst experiences to build some sort of a narrative that fits their own convenient goals. Now, when we talk about Drake and this whole corner of people who just support him not being hip-hop whatsoever, this is exactly what is meant, as because of the simple fact that these people just don't respect the craft and competition of music, and because of their fundamental misunderstanding of something like rap beef, they are now muddying up people's actual lives to try and have some sort of a gotcha moment on Kendrick and his...
Yeah, and you know, like, all the... Like... The problem with all this is, I mean, like the guy said, this was filed for a while, and it's just now popping up and stuff for obvious reasons, for him to try to tarnish someone's public image. It's actually just so pathetic, bro. Damn, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say, but it's embarrassing, bro. It's so embarrassing. Like, I've never seen anybody do something like this, bro, and it just goes on for so fucking long, dude. Just fucking stop, bro. Just stop, dude. Like, because at this point, dude, you know, like, I don't, imagine anything other than you know, him kind of completely fading away after this shit. In rap, that's kind of what I see. What I feel like is going to happen is a lot of the radio stations are going to stop playing his shit. He'll probably still get streamed. He will, you know what I mean? But as far as him being out, like, being kind of pushed to the culture and being appreciated and even, like, getting a look, like, it's going to be kind of done, dude. Like, I don't know how many platforms are going to have him on. Bro, and here's the other thing. He wouldn't go and do interviews with anybody. He was too big for any of that shit. So, I mean, and we kind of see who he's going on on the platforms that he's going on. He's going on platforms with all these streamers who are, you know, like 10 years younger than him, bro. Number one. Number two, it's just... And other people have covered this, so I'm not saying anything like new or profound, but other people have covered it, how he's not going to hip-hop platforms over the last few years, and then even now when it would benefit you to go and speak somewhere, you know what I mean? I don't know, bro. I don't know, dude. How can you fuck up this bad, dude? Just shut the fuck up and go away, dude. Go to fucking Australia. Do your tour. Like, and that's another thing. His tour is apparently, like, really fucked. Like, just go away, bro.
His fans. And I mean, to just ultimately decide to go about this campaign the way they did and try and smear Kendrick Lamar's name before hip-hop has the biggest cultural moment it has had arguably ever in terms of just reaching the...
That's another thing, dude. You're just trying to nuke everything. You're trying to nuke everything because your ego is so big that you think you can. But you fucking can't, bro. You can't. You're not bigger than the NFL. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Like, it doesn't matter, like, what you're bringing up, because at the end of the day, the optics of it is just like, bro, you're just doing this shit for this reason, which isn't, like, a genuine reason, necessarily. It's pathetic, bro. It's fucking patheticism, dude.
The most people possible. This is just another reason why...
But, dude, who didn't see this coming, dude? Who didn't see this coming? And someone made a video breaking down, like, all the times that Drake worked with Atlanta artists. And one thing they said was, like, on the only album where Drake didn't work with an Atlanta artist was If You're Reading This Is Too Late. But let me debunk that real quick, because most of those songs were written by Quentin Miller, who's from Atlanta, bro. Who's from fucking Atlanta. That's all. Who didn't see this coming, bro? Like, if you're my age or, like, a little bit younger, maybe a little older, you remember Big Ghostface blog, bro. The blog era, I love the blog era. So much good music came out then. It was amazing. One of the best things was a blog called Big Ghostface blog. Let me see if I can find this shit, bro. Big Ghostface. But face spelled with an S, right? Big Ghostface. Yeah, bro. The Take Care review. Oh, they took it down. Oh my god, it's down. Is it down or is my internet fucked up? Yeah, bro, that shit's fucked up. Yeah, it's down. It was the best blog. I'm going to try to find it, like, on the Wayback Machine and kind of show it to my channel. But, dude, who didn't see this coming, dude?
This is so shameful and detrimental to every single person who has ever cared and worked within the hip-hop space, because with what Kendrick has been doing and what his mission has been all about, he has been trying to amplify this space and to show that it can do things even better and in a more captivating way.
And another strange thing, the more he worked out and the more masculine he got, the more like overt, like, just zesty shit. He just do gayer and gayer shit. You know what I mean? Like, cause he used to look like a fucking geek, like a fucking little twink geek. You know what I mean? And then If You're Reading This Is Too Late, he came through, you know, looking different and shit. And then yeah, bro. And he ended up just doing, like, gayer and gayer shit after that, bro. And, like, pause on all that shit, but that's just kind of like a point of, like, there's something inside him and it's trying to get out. You know what I mean? Anita is trying to get out of Drake. You know what I mean? That's all.
artists have ever been able to. And I mean, just as we are starting to see where hip-hop can go within the light it is currently at, between what Drake is doing with UMG and Not Like Us, which is just making such a mess, to now things like this, which are being used to negatively affect Kendrick's reputation when he has no part in this, but yet it is still trying to create such a negative headline just to take down his Super Bowl performance. Overall, what is going to end up happening if we keep moving this way is that these big names like the
Bro, he's Canadian. You don't even know what fucking football is, dude. He thinks it's a soccer game.
NFL and so many other parties are going to see the mess that is being created from hip-hop, all because of the manipulation and narrative pushing to smear its most successful artists, and eventually they're going to make the decision that it's a lot better to have the same old squeaky, non-problematic pop stars at the surface of what...
That's another thing, guys. You ever thought about how he said he made like a necklace with fucking 42 diamonds, one for each woman that he wanted to marry? You know what I mean? He got rings made. He got 40 some rings made. So this dude is falling into marriage love with, like, on average, like 4 women a year. How insane and pathetic are you, bro?
They are doing, as they never get dragged down like their own peers like we are seeing in hip-hop. And I mean, if this happens...
And then, nothing wrong with that, bro. Falling in love is amazing. However, for a year, and not one, insane.
From the top of the rap game to everyone aspiring to get in on it on any level, opportunities are just going to get taken away, which then is going to make every single person lose. And this is even why with Drake and in this entire era we are in, there has just never been a greater need for nuance and real compassion, because the fact that hip-hop culture and its current leader are being twisted into this story involving people of TDE, all just to make Kendrick look bad, and not to actually try and help and give this story and the people who may have been negatively affected by it any sort of assistance. This is just terrible, and there is not a single person winning from this, including Drake, because if this is the type of culture he is trying to turn rap into, I mean, these same things are not just going to work against him eventually, because look at the guy's history already. But he is also going to limit his own growth as a star. And
the thing about it, like, affecting him in the future is, like, he'll probably get backlash, but, like, it's almost like compounding interest, dude, on a debt, which he would know about, usury. You know, it's like compound interest on a debt, and it's just gonna get worse and worse, bro. Like, you're never digging yourself out of this hole, bro. Oh man, you're never getting out of this, bro.
I mean, in this time where rap is headlining the Super Bowl, the Grammys, and from Kendrick Lamar to even now Playboi Carti, rappers are reaching full-on stadiums, which is something not many others have ever been.
And what's interesting, I'm gonna go ahead and leak some shit. So if you're watching up to this point, shout outs to you. This is an interesting idea. If you know anything about numerology, last year was an 8 year. 8 is the number of money. 8 is the number of, I guess like material, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's also the number of karma. It's the loop, you know what I mean? What goes around comes around, right? So karma is attached to your money, you know? On one hand, you see Kendrick. Well, no, let's start with Drake. On one hand, you get Drake, right? Who felt the power of the 8 year, right? And basically, everything all at once came out. You know what I mean? Same with academics, you know what I mean? And you see that over and over again. A bunch of people who are fucked up got what was coming last year. You know what I mean? A lot of fucking people, bro. But on the other hand, you see people who more or less, we can assume had good karma because, Kendrick went from like relatively like from an album that everybody was like, oh, that album was a flop, nobody listened to it, whatever the fuck, to you see what happened. You know what I mean? You see what happened. And the good karma side, you can find plenty of other examples of that. You know what I mean? Where people who were like, you can assume were decent people who didn't fuck anybody over, who just blew the fuck up last year. You know what I mean? Just some shit to consider.
been able to do, and it's really just setting a precedent now on how high the ceiling is for a rapper. Altogether, as a culture, everyone needs to collect themselves and realize what's actually at stake here. And people need to just start separating what is music and competition and what are actual horrible things going on and that need to be looked at in a way where none of this rap beef stuff even matters. And because Drake and his team are conflating these two, and I mean Drake has literally been rapping about stuff like this on his new freestyle, he is once again showing that he is the worst thing to be in all of hip-hop right now, but seemingly with the NFL standing by Kendrick and letting him do whatever he wants at this halftime show. Just like with Jay, them going about it this way is saying a lot and is showing how much they believe in the character and talent that will be at the halftime show. And I mean, at least for most of the hip-hop world, despite all of the trouble this story has been causing in the worst way possible, as everyone does understand how rotten this corner of the industry is that Drake resides in. Nobody is really letting this soil their view of Kendrick Lamar, and if anything, it's only made Drake and his community look worse, because just to take a serious situation like this and use it so tastelessly to not just bring the whole genre you have a career from in the first place down, but then again to also just neglect the actual importance of what's at stake here and using it to push narratives about a rapper you lost to in a beef because you're mad about it, once again, Drake and everyone around him are showing how they are not like the rest of us, and no matter what happens from here, they will never be able to stop Kendrick Lamar from showing them the truth once and for all, and they will never be able to be welcomed back into this entire space because they just don't have the respect or value that it truly takes to be a part of this thing we call hip-hop.
Yeah.
And so now with all this said, let me know, what do you think about this entire situation and the strange way this campaign was set up to smear Kendrick Lamar last minute? I mean, obviously there is so much at stake here, so please let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave.
Yeah, shout outs to Fantastic Hip Hop. Yeah, sure, there's a lot at stake, but people aren't fucking stupid, dude. You know, I think everybody sees this for what it is, you know what I mean? As opposed to, like, what Drake would like to manipulate it to be. Yeah.